Chris wasn't able to join via Teams, so he is just on my phone.
That's probably why he doesn't get a newspaper either. He just doesn't have the technology.
7 o'clock.
Okay. All right. So is there anything emergent to add to the agenda? And would somebody like James move for adoption? All in favor? Yeah, James here. Opposed? That is carried. And first item on the agenda is accounts payable for information. Larry? Are there any questions or concerns? Matt?
EFT 6325, New West Truck Centers, Unit 184 CVIP. Do we not do in-house CVIPs?
We do on most units. This one had to be sent away.
That's the old fire truck.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
From the city, the red one.
Gotcha. Okay, I was just curious.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I had one about EFT 6331. Did we have like a big water break or something that we needed a big piece of flange for?
So, sorry, could you repeat?
Just wondering what that was for.
No, which EFT?
Oh, the very last one, 6331,
6331.
$8,810.
No, I think that was from that damage that we had a couple months ago from the landfill in the town. But I can confirm.
Okay.
It's Wosley Mechanical, so you
Oh,
would
you're
think
talking-
it'd be plumbing.
It'd be
Oh,
some
sorry,
lift
sorry. I
stations.
was looking at the landfill one. 6331, that is just a conversion kit for our hydrants. So we have a couple, about 5 that are out of order, so we're looking to get those parts to replace them.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on accounts payable? If not, all in favor of receiving for information? Opposed? That is carried. Chris, I didn't mention, is joining us by cell phone, so not Teams.
And he responded in there.
Yeah, I heard him. All right. Yeah, that works. Yes or no? So item number 2 on the agenda is our delegation, and that is the Medicine Hat Women's Shelter and Natasha and Peggy.
Thank you.
And go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mayor Kilpatrick, council, city staff, and senior admin. Thank you for having us here again to present on Family Violence Prevention Month. I know this is a great opportunity for us to let you know all the good things we're doing at the shelter for Medicine Hat and Redcliff and surrounding area. So thank you, we appreciate the time. As you know, it's Family Violence Prevention Month. We've been doing a lot of things. We've done a memorial walk. Peggy's been busy out here in Redcliff tying ribbons with the youth center, and
Parkside School has put up ribbons as well, and actually is going to be at the Parkside Christmas market as well to share with the community for information.
yeah, so it's just really important for us this month to be able to be as visible as possible, just to let people sort of know why it's important to talk about family violence, to end some of the stigma around it, as well as to just have people be aware of our programs and services that we offer, so that people know how to refer and how to access supports if they need it. We always know that you might not suffer from family violence or experience it yourself, but you probably know sadly somebody who does, and so it's always important to us to have the information as visible and as available as possible. That's part of how we want to end the stigma about talking about family violence. So yeah. So the Medicine Hat Women's Shelter Society, we're obviously a nonprofit. We operate at no cost to anybody. We're a gender inclusive program, meaning we take any genders into the shelter. So we are still branded as the women's shelter because that's what we've been for over 42 years. But we do accept everybody who's fleeing family violence into our shelter programming. So yeah, we have many ways to connect us. We're available 24/7. So we have a helpline toll-free line, of course, and then during COVID, or towards the end of COVID, I lost track of that year now, Peggy. It's been a year. We started a text and web chat line. We probably just talked about it briefly last year when we came. So it's been really successful. One of the things we realized during COVID was that people had a hard time being able to pick up the phone sometimes. Maybe they were in house with an abuser during that time and weren't able to just pick up a phone as readily and have a conversation if they needed help. But it's pretty easy to text from your phone. Another thing that we've really noticed is that some of the younger generation, I don't want to age myself, but they use texting a lot more. So Peggy definitely sees that when she's in the schools and things like that. Like that's sort of their preferred way of reaching out. So we want to be available for them too to be able to access services. So yeah, so our helpline, you can see some of our numbers there. We had over 2,000 calls last year. That's one of our highest numbers. Our shelter helpline calls are up 42% last year. So a lot of people reaching out for help. Not always about coming into shelter, just needing some information maybe about what we offer. We do offer safety planning. We offer, intakes into the shelter at all our different programs. Sometimes people want to come, don't need to come into shelter, but maybe need to just access a worker to talk about some safety planning and things like that. So that's definitely a lot of the things that we offer. Our main shelter is the Phoenix Safe House. That's our emergency shelter, and it's a 30-bed emergency shelter. Most people stay with us for 21 days, give or take. We play it by ear and sort of see how it's going for them. Definitely, we are seeing that people are staying in shelter longer these days due to lack of housing options for people, affordable housing specifically. So tend to stay with us for a bit longer till they can sort of secure that and get a safe place that they can go to. It's definitely impacting us in terms of if people stay longer, then we can't really necessarily take people in at this end, so it's getting it is a little bit of a struggle, so we're just working through some of that. But it's a secure, monitored facility. When people come in, we make sure their basic needs are provided. They get one-to-one support, group programming, safety planning. We do a danger assessment with them to sort of assess, as you can imagine, their level of risk to see kind of what services they need around that. And we have great partnerships with the community. We have a great partnership with the SPCA where people can leave their pets. That's one of the main causes we know that people struggle about coming in is they don't want to leave their pets. And so we have a great partnership with them to be able to take the pets while they're in shelter. So it's been really great. So last year alone, we had over 200 adults and almost 100 children stay with us at the emergency shelter. Musasa House is our second stage shelter, which is the one that is attached just in our same complex. Not attached, but in our same yard, I should say. Musasa is our second stage shelter, and it's the only second stage shelter south of Calgary, so we tend to have a pretty big catchment area in terms of how many people access that shelter. So a lot of time we see people coming down from Red Deer or places like that, needing support, wanting to get out of the town that they're in for safety reasons, and so that shelter is pretty consistently full. Right now there's 9 mums and about 20 kids over there, so it's a pretty busy place. Families have their own townhouse units. You can sort of see a picture of it in there. They're 2-story, 3-bedroom townhouse units, so we are able to accommodate mums with 6 or 7 kids if they had to be, or maybe just moms with just a baby. So it just depends on whatever their situation is. But it's really great because they have their own unit and they can live there for a year and just get their feet back on the ground. We always say it's nice to have a safe place to land when you're in crisis. 3 weeks in an emergency shelter doesn't really give you enough time to make decisions about the rest of your life. So this gives them some time to get their feet back on the ground. We have great partnership with the college where they offer us bursaries that the women can access to help maybe support them to, sometimes it's just a course you're missing maybe in your healthcare aid certificate, and that would make the difference between being able to have secure income. A lot of the reasons we know that women return to abusive relationships or to their situation is just because they don't have the ability to manage a family on their own, and they have no other choice. So we're trying to remove as many barriers as possible. So when they're with us during some of the wraparound supports that we offer are group programming, life skills, budgeting, all those kind of things, parenting after separation, those kind of topics, to just make sure people are feeling good about making their decisions to move on. So, yeah. And other services that we offer are outreach services. They are located off-site from the 2 shelters at the Ridge Professional Building, and we did that almost 10 years ago. Thank you. Good thing you know all the dates, Peggy. 2017. We did it strategically at that time. We felt we were hearing there was a lot of stigma about people accessing shelter services if they weren't coming to shelter if they didn't need a bed and didn't need a safe place to be. They just felt like they just couldn't access the services. But what we really realized is that people don't have to come into shelter to access services. People still need to be able to talk to somebody and have a safe place to go to talk about those things. So we had started a partnership, and we still have it going, with the police services called Safe Families Intervention Team, where we work pretty closely with their family crime unit and that team to make sure that people are seen in a timely manner after police respond to a domestic. It's one of the things we're working on with the RCMP out here as well, just to make sure that we can provide those sort of early intervention supports in a timely fashion, in the hopes that that sort of helps break the cycle going forward. So yeah, so the outreach team is pretty busy. They saw over 700 people in their team last year, so it was a pretty busy place. So one of the other things that we really focus on when families come in, obviously, are the children. We want to make sure that the children are needing the supports. We know that kids are impacted right from being in utero to being, if they are experiencing family violence. We really want to make sure that they get the supports and validation and support that they need when they arrive. And part of us wanting to break the cycle is being able to support them from an early age. So when they come in, they're hooked up with a family support team, which is a worker who works with the kids during their stay while they're in either shelter. There's one-to-one programming, group programming, supports for the parents as well to help them support some of that. As well as we see a lot of kids and youth who are referred from community, so from children's services or from the school system or different programs like that. So that's wonderful. And one of the things we also offer on site is a daycare. So that's really wonderful to be able to have that, because that gives parents a chance to be able to leave their kids in a safe, secure environment with trained staff who, you know, when you have to go out, especially our families when they're in our shelter, they often have court or legal matters they have to deal with, and so it's really wonderful if they have that sort of support to that. And SAFE is our summer program. We run an 8-week summer camp program. Thank you. Yeah, summer camp program. A lot of our families can't afford to have their kids in a regular kind of camp program, but really do need the support. So we offer that, and we couple it with safety planning and education for those kids, because we know those are the kids who are also impacted by family violence. So yeah, so we also wanted to just talk to you about, we just launched a capital campaign. It's about basic human needs. One of the things that we've realized during COVID and in the past couple of years during our strategic planning is that our Phoenix Emergency Shelter was built in '98 as an 11-bed shelter. That was the demand at the time. 25 years later now, we're at a 30-bed shelter, excuse me, in that same physical blueprint, and so we're a little squished for space, and so it's just hard for the family. So one of the things is we need to modernize our fire suppression system. We don't have a fire suppression system in this shelter, and we need to bring that up to code. Our security system, as you can appreciate, it's a secured facility. People have to be buzzed in and out to come into the building, as well as camera access all around all our points. So we need to modernize and upgrade that. As well as one of the things that came out during COVID, and which we've always struggled with, is that we only have 2 bathrooms on our upstairs bedroom level for 9 bedrooms. And so it's just not ideal in any communal living situation. Is always hard, but to have to share bathrooms is really hard. And when you have moms in with a bunch of kids and they're trying to get them ready and, you know, get them ready for bed, that's hard if you're sharing space. If you have anybody with illness, and that's what we realized during COVID, is we had a lot of people come in during COVID. We encouraged people to still come in even if they had symptoms, because we wanted them to be safe in other ways. And then we had to isolate and, you know, make sure that bathroom wasn't used, so then we were down to 1 bathroom. So it really made things very tricky. So we're, part of our upgrades will be to put in just a toilet, sink, and a shower, nothing too fancy, but into each bedroom, and just to be able to give everybody their own bedroom so that we can you know, control for disease and illness, but also just offer a little bit of respect and dignity. Some of the other stuff we want to do is remove some barriers. Our daycare, which is wonderful to have, is in the basement currently right now just because of space, and it just makes it tricky. There's not a lot of light down there. The kids are downstairs. They have to come upstairs. Access to the playground is kind of tricky down there, as well as what we're seeing a lot of is people coming into shelter who have injuries, as you can imagine, from being physically abused, maybe pushed down the stairs, strangled, something like that. And they're limited in terms of their access, and so they're on crutches perhaps, or just limited mobility. And so when we have things in the basement, it's just hard for them to access. So that's where our group room is, so then it's hard for them to be able to do that. Their laundry is down there, that's not ideal either, and taking their kids up and down to daycare isn't either. So we just wanna bring everything up to the main floor, where there's more light and just better accessibility. And, like I said to you, we moved the outreach off-site, to sort of end some of that stigma around, you know, if you were male and accessing the women's shelter, there was a lot of around that. But now, this many years later, we're realizing, because we do take all genders in the shelter too, it's not so much of a need for them to be off-site. So our goal is to bring the outreach offices back, and then that'll be wonderful for those clients, because then they'll be able to access the daycare and other staff, or if they arrive and they need to actually come into shelter, they'll just be right there too. So, yeah, so that's pretty much our, that's our capital campaign in a nutshell. So we just wanted to sort of put a bug in your ear about it and let you know that that is something that we're launching, and just to keep us in mind when you're, you know, thinking about budgets and things like that. We do offer services to, like we said, Medicine Hat and surrounding area. Redcliff, of course, is one of those areas. So we just sort of wanted to put a bug in your ear about that, and just if also some of it is advocacy and support to all levels of government, to provincial government and things like that would be really helpful to us, because I think that's really how we're just trying to get the word out. So I'm happy to take any questions.
Huh.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, I assume that you guys have like applied for grant funding and stuff like that for this project?
Yes.
Have you guys received approvals on that, or?
Yeah, so we have, our capital campaign is a $6 million campaign, and the global budget is an $8.5 million actual build for all that stuff, because it's not cheap to do construction anymore. So we, as the board has been strategic in putting money aside every year to make sure that we have that. So we have a big chunk of coin, almost $2 million that we're putting towards it, so we do have that. We've received grants from the provincial government for our fire suppression system, and from the federal government towards the security system. So we have little pieces of it that we're sort of chipping away at, for sure. So we just keep looking for new grants and new opportunities to apply for that. We just got a grant from the Medicine Hat Realtors Foundation towards our security system. They gave us $6,000, so that was wonderful today too. So little by little is our goal to get it. We know it's not going to be a quick campaign. It'll be a couple of years out, but it's just time for us to do some. We need that space to be a little more functional.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have any questions you'd like to ask?
Nope. Thank you very much for
Thank
your time.
you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
Feel free to hang out if you like for the rest. It's gonna be a.
Is it going to get really good?
Oh, it's
Oh, it'll be very exciting.
Yeah. Would somebody like to move the delegations for information? Matt
Sure.
moves, receive. Women's shelter for information. Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Moving on to number 3, minutes.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you. We have the organizational meeting held October 23rd, 2023.
For adoption.
Kathy? Any questions, concerns, errors, omissions? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. And then council minutes for October 23rd. Jim? Any questions or concerns there? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. And then the special capital budget meeting held October 25th for adoption.
We'll move for adoption.
James? Questions or concerns there? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Is carried. Special operations budget council meeting held 27th for information. Larry? Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. All right. Then we move on to the Town of Redcliff Library Board meeting on September 12th, 2023 for information.
Move those.
Jim?
Jim, you skipped it.
I was here. Had a meeting the same day.
Well, that's no excuse.
Okay. Any questions or concerns? So I see in here that they voted to pick a rate, an electrical rate, but I believe the city is
That's done.
lowering it
Yeah.
to the new rate no matter what?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad everybody there was paying attention. Anyway, okay. Any other questions? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Moving on to bylaws, we have bylaw 1960/2023 being the temporary emergency storage bylaw. And it's here for first reading. Larry? So this is just a little bit of rework. Any questions or concerns? So, a 20-foot sea can is not very big, right? That's probably even hard
It's
to.
half the size of a 40.
Half the length, yeah.
Yeah.
Are they readily available? Like, what's the most common sea can out there?
20 footers,
They are
I think.
easy?
So we buy, yeah.
Okay. No, I just, because I know they make them much longer. Most of the ones you see in the industrial side are, 40s or 50s, right? But, no, it's okay. If they're readily available, I got nothing. So somebody's gonna come in and put some kick-ass one in there. And the other question I had is in regards to the fines. You're $500 if you don't have a license, if you don't have a permit. It's only $250 if you put in a bigger one, right? And yet if you put in two, then it's $500. So you could put in two 20s and get a $500 fine, and 140 and only get a $250 fine. Are you trying to make that economical, or? Just saying. Okay, no. I didn't make them, I just read them. Okay.
And these fines can be adjusted to whatever you would like.
Well, like I said, there's a couple of 250, the one about it expired and you didn't renew it, well, okay, that's fine, they were probably in compliance, but when you get to the bigger and more, yeah, I don't know. Okay, no, it's fine. Just don't live in it, or have your dog live in it, because that's $500.
That's much more money.
Okay. If nobody-
That's cheap rent, actually, $500 a month.
It was per day, maybe. Does anybody else
No.
have any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor of first reading? Opposed? That is carried. And then this is gonna go through the advertising process? Or-
There's no requirement to advertise.
So,
It'll
you just-
come back at the next
okay,
meeting for
so
November.
just, and it won't be all in red?
Correct.
Okay. Right. Okay.
So we gotta find something to change to your life.
So B is bylaw number 1961/2023 to repeal business license bylaw 1870, 2018, because we just went and gave third reading to a new business bylaw without repealing the old business bylaw, so we have two in effect. So Shannon would like this to get all three readings so it can be repealed today, and if you look in all the rest of them, repealing is automatic.
I'll put it on the table for first reading.
Kathy? Any questions or concerns? All in favor of first reading? Would somebody like to put it on the floor for second? James? Any questions or concerns? All in favor of second reading? Opposed? Would somebody like to,
We'll move third reading.
no, you can't move third reading.
Sorry,
Present
present
for
third
third.
reading, sorry.
And it must be unanimous. So that's, Matt.
They even put that as a note.
Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Opposed?
For third reading?
Okay,
Well,
that's
they
carried
hand up for
unanimously,
opposed there.
and no, his hand was up. Larry moves third.
Can't double vote, Larry?
Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. All right. Then we move on to bylaw 1962-2023, being the encroachment permit bylaw for first reading.
I'll move first.
James. Questions or concerns? All in favor of first reading? Opposed? That is carried. Now, moving on for requests for decisions, we have a Northwest Storm Pond pump servicing for consideration.
Well, I'll move option 1 to put it on the table here.
Okay. James,
Question.
questions or concerns?
So, if we spend $17,000 roughly repairing this pump, is there an estimate on useful life of the pump after the fact, or are we looking at, because it's been ignored for so long, this is the immediate thing, but then we're gonna be putting in another 20 and another 20, in which case we should be looking at replacing, or?
No, so with a rebuild, it's from the bottom up. So you're basically getting a brand new pump for a lower price. So I looked in to get a brand new pump. They don't make the pump that's currently in there. So to replace it, it's $75,000. So to put in for our annual maintenance, it is your one upfront, and then we will continue to do pump holes yearly.
Okay. So 17 grand, we're rebuilding the whole thing?
Yeah, refurbishment, complete refurbishment.
Okay.
So, are we getting close to depleting these reserves when we just keep pulling like this? Cause this is $37,000, right? I don't know how much is in that reserve.
I don't know off the top of my head. There's still quite a bit. The other option, not the other option, but we have $12,000 in the current budget for storm system repairs. But this would obviously throw us over. So the ask is essentially to do it and fund it from the storm reserve if we need to. We can get most of this in the current budget, so we wouldn't have to pull that entire amount.
Could you do any of it in 2023?
That's what.
Out of operating contingency?
So we have $12,000 in that, in the account that this would come from. So essentially we'd be asking for 5 over and above, unless there's something else storm related that needs done by the end of the year.
Okay.
But, so it could be proceed with the 17,000, anything extra comes from the reserve, might only be 5,000. So that lessens it.
Okay. So then, this motion should be modified to utilize 2023's unspent?
That's what I was just thinking, yeah.
And then the overages could get,
Yep.
we could modify.
Can we make that amendment, Jen?
Yes.
And we must have a storm pond that has never worked in its life, right? The one in East Side? Is it dried up and rusted solid?
I haven't gotten any information on those pumps. I just know that we have a pump that we take out there yearly and return yearly. I do not know.
Oh,
the
but so
stat-
they have been pulling it and looking at it?
No, this is they put in a pump, like a manual pump in there. I don't know if they've pulled anything from those pumps or from the pond, or if they have any pumps over there.
I think there's pumps there. Because we built a lift station
Yeah.
there to
Oh,
pump to
yes.
pond 2.
Yep.
Like, that was over $1 million to put that line and everything in, and I don't think there's ever, obviously if they take a pump over there, there must be some remnants of water in the bottom.
Yeah. Oh, no, there's water, definitely, but we do have we pull it over there to do it, but I have to
And then
do-
you just overland it
Yeah.
into a coulee.
into the storm. I can bring back further information.
Okie dokie then. That'd be nice to know,
Okay.
like, cause that's
So-
technically, we're just wasting that water then. Okay.
Okay. So would you like me to investigate?
Well,
the
if
east-
there's a pump in there and it's not even used, cause water doesn't even get to that lift station, then,
So the east side storage pond, correct?
yeah,
Okay.
in the
Yep.
backside there, I believe there was
Yep, there's.
work done there.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
We'll provide you with extra information.
okay, thank you.
No problem.
All right, so the motion has been amended to spend money from 2023 and then the remainder to come out of storm system reserve. Everybody's clear? Does anybody have any more questions on that?
Did I hear correctly that it might not be the full 17,000 to repair?
No.
No, there's about 12 left over in 2023.
Okay, yeah.
And then, so they might have to use 5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that was a kind of a quoted repair cost.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
They've taken a look at the pump.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? It is carried. And then B, encroachment permit applications for consideration.
Put number 1 on the table.
Larry.
I guess there is only one.
There's only one, yep.
Well, no, there's 2.
There's two.
Yes or no?
Oh, yeah.
Enter or don't enter? Or make them tear the fence down. You can put in any motion you want.
Well, I have questions.
Okay, well, Larry moved 1, okay.
So,
Go ahead, James.
am I allowed to ask Brian this question? Okay.
He's sitting right there.
Well, I know. I just,
Yeah, no, staff are actually here to query.
okay. Well, in reading through this, it says according to town records, the fence was constructed between 2020 and 2022. So, I guess my question is if the town knew that the fence was constructed, why was it constructed so far out of the property line and now we have to enter into this agreement?
There may not have been a permit for that fence.
There's no permits required for fences in the town. We know when it was constructed due to our GIS aerial historical.
Oh, okay, not because it came
Photos?
through town hall.
No, just from looking back, we have the 2020 aerial photograph with no fence, and then we have a 2022 with the fence.
Okay. And so obviously the fence and the concrete are on town property.
The driveway
The
access,
driveway,
which
yeah.
is typical for just about every home.
Okay.
Like the boulevard, the driveways crossing
Yeah.
the boulevards.
Okay.
It's the 3 little fences.
That are the issue.
Well, and the one fence is up against the barbed wire fence, so, yeah, which has been there forever.
Photo number, 3, yes, you're right. I mean, that is a technical road right-of-way, but it is not accessed.
Like, that's the old Trans-Canada Highway and Main Street. This is the intersection of the 2. So, and of course, most streets are wider than the pavement and sidewalk, and that's the case of this, is his property line is considerably far off the sidewalk.
Yes.
And they
Took advantage of that.
took advantage of that. And it is the last, I don't know if it is the last house on that block. Like,
Yeah.
that's as far north as you can go.
Yeah.
And that's all private land, just to the right of it, right? Like, that's not ours.
Well, that's the
Like,
Trans-Canada.
right-
That's
right
the-
here?
Yeah, well, it's,
Oh,
that's where
okay.
Rosie the horse used to graze. Yeah.
Used to?
I don't know.
Yeah.
She would be very old if she was still alive, but she has kids that are still there. Yeah, there's still a couple of houses up the road that still have some animals and corrals and barn. from the Cypress County days. At one time, that was our north boundary, all the way across. This was technically Cypress County and this was
Yeah.
Redcliff.
Huh.
So, anyway, yeah. So, can we give them, well, I guess, by the bylaw, they can't maintain that fence, right? Even if we give them the encroachment permit.
As per your encroachment bylaw,
Yeah.
I mean, they maintain it.
Oh, right, they can maintain it, they just
They
can't.
can't,
They
they
can't
can't make
rebuild
it.
it.
Yeah, they can't make it better than what it is.
But it's a brand new fence, so it's
Yeah.
gonna last quite a while.
Or if it's 75% damage, you can't.
Right. So one guy goes around the corner too fast, they can't fix it. Okay. No, just-
As long as it's not in a town truck.
yeah, well, it's loader, grader. Anyway, any other questions or concerns? So, if we leave this and let them have it, then the next guy to it can go, well, no big deal, I can do the same, right?
That's-
Because there is no permits for fences anymore, which is kind of weird.
That was
Right.
my worry is, do we set a precedent?
Yeah,
Well, there's already been some things that we do leave as encroaching, but,
But typically those have been grandfathered,
yeah.
like been there for a while. This is a brand new fence.
It's just, I don't mind the fence down the sides being a little bit off, but it's that big chunk that encroaches on the front that I'm not crazy about that. You know, there on the left side of the picture that goes from
Yeah,
the
move
property
another
line to the
picture up,
street.
Kathy, and then you see the whole fence.
Well, that's Chris.
Oh, sorry, Chris, can you go one picture back? That one.
Oh, that one,
Yeah,
okay.
that big chunk there, I don't agree with that. Nobody else in town would get away with that big a chunk.
Yeah, I don't know what. There probably are some fences that come up to the sidewalk in old parts of town.
There
And
are-
realistic, what is it, what is the harm in that fence? Like, why would you make them rip it down?
Well, it's just if everybody started doing that.
that's the thing. If one guy gets away with it, then everybody wants to.
Like out there, like I say, that's the furthest north you can go on that house. Is it in anybody's road? Probably not, but if everybody on that block did it, well, then it would start to look different. And I don't know.
And if they can do it out there, why can't you do it in east side or whatever?
Yeah, because we've had a lot of citizens that you go to put up a fence, you get your property surveyed and you very carefully keep it on your side of the property line.
Right. And that's how it should be.
And that's how it should be.
Well, anyway, I guess it's done by vote, because Larry made the motion. Everybody's clear? Does anybody have any other questions or concerns?
Okay, what Larry's motion say?
Leave it the way it is.
Larry's saying to approve the encroachment.
Okay.
Yeah.
This addresses all three encroachments, correct?
This does address all three.
But the other ones aren't that bad. Well, it's still 2 feet, like nothing is close there.
No, I mean, encroachment number 2 and 3, like they're encroaching to the town road right away by 20, or 7 point,
Yeah,
2 meters.
those two chunks of fence.
Correct.
Come all the way to the sidewalk. They're 7 meters, 7.25 meters. The other one is only
on the north side.
I know I say it's only a couple of feet, but a couple of feet is, like, I don't know what.
Still, it's-
It's obviously not using a tape measure.
Well, I think that what they did was they went to the very outside edge of their grass.
They went to the
First.
barbed wire fence,
Yeah,
is what they did. And the barbed wire fence is 2 feet inside the property line. So by them going out to that,
The
they're
barbed wire-
outside of their property.
barbed wire fence is
Oh.
technically in a road as well.
How do you maintain the 2 feet between the fences then?
Exactly, that would be difficult.
You know, I mean, that,
Yeah.
No, it's true. I hear you. But I can live with that one, right? Like, that one isn't really affecting much on, go ahead, Shannon.
I just want to clarify that the proposal or the motion includes all 3 of the encroachments in the event that you wanted to break them out independently.
Oh, because if we said no, that would be a heck of a fluff.
It would,
It would shoot down all 3.
yes.
Hmm. Matt?
If we say no, like let's say we break them up and we say no to that one there, do they have to rip it down and move it?
Technically, yes.
Or
Because this
rip
is
it
for
down?
sale, I'm assuming that's why it came here. Somebody bought it.
The lot's already been purchased, yeah, by
Yeah.
the new buyer.
Yeah.
The encroachment agreement is with the new owner.
New owner. So the old owner didn't have this encroachment permit because the fence wasn't there.
He built it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So would title insurance
No.
cut, no, really?
And the old owner would have had to have taken that out. You can't take it out now. Right?
Mm.
Title insurance is you take out before you sell. It supposedly alleviates you from silly little
Yeah.
things. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
I'm not either.
I've just heard that it's an option when you're selling.
I'm not opposed to, like, down the sides of the trailer, which are kind of in where they should be, but that, what is it, 7.86 meters?
8.2, 7.82, 7.86, yeah.
Yeah,
the street.
I'm not, I don't agree with that at all. That's, no.
That's a little overboard.
That's a little bit carried away, yes.
Larry, would you be proposed to amending your motion to separate the 3 encroachment permits?
no, I'll leave my motion as, you can make another motion afterwards to do it. Because I don't think it's bothering anybody.
Okay.
Sorry again, how long has this fence been there like this? It's
They
been
don't know
20
for sure. They're saying in the last couple of
2020
years.
to 2022, you
At
think?
some point in time.
Some point.
Just because they had photos. Okay, is everybody dug deep? I'm gonna call the question, so you have to come up with something.
Go
All
for
in
it.
favor? Opposed? That motion is defeated.
I'll make a separate motion that we accept the move into encroachment agreement for, I'm really confused by the numbers on this. Is it fence 1 that runs along the barbed wire?
Yes.
Fence number 1.
Yeah, encroachment number 1 is the side yard fence.
Okay.
And then 2 and 3 are the three fences along the barbed wire. Because one, there's still the fence along the barbed wire.
Yeah.
Yeah, two is the yard, and 3 is that last chunk of fence. By this, right, by this, 1, 2,
I
and 3.
can't see what you're pointing at. The one that's on the screen.
Oh, you're not,
Yeah.
Right here, yeah.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
look at 1, 2, and 3,
Yeah.
the avenue north is number 1, see the
Yeah.
arrow?
Yeah.
And then number 2,
But number 2 is
And then
right by
3
number 1.
yeah, 2 is that little chunk, and then 3 are the 3 pieces that are on the boulevard.
Number 2 is the concrete. Okay, that's.
Well,
what I'm
there's a
getting-
little bit of fence there too, in line, that fence goes all the way through.
Well, no, that's number 1 still.
Nope.
Number 2 is, read the notes.
Oh,
The
okay.
concrete
Right.
driveway.
Yeah, okay, so the concrete
Okay.
driveway goes over property line too, you're right, sorry.
Yeah.
If-
I was just looking at the drawings.
if I may explain there. So the first encroachment is to that fence that's on the north side of the property that runs into First Avenue Northwest. And then number two is that portion on the north side, but it encroaches into Main Street. And that's why we had asked for a separate encroachment permit. Because it is that piece to the north, that little section to the north.
Oh, right.
You go to picture.
This one here.
Well, but the way they've numbered it on that drawing that we were just at,
That's the way
Yeah.
the surveyors.
yeah, they've got all three of those
Oh,
on Main
okay.
as number 3
So,
encroachment.
so number 2 is that little chunk of fence to the north of the driveway.
Right. We asked the lawyer, or we asked for separate encroachment agreements for this, so council has an option to either to agree to all three or none of them.
Okay. Well, I would like to make a motion that we move into an encroachment agreement for encroachment number 1,
Not 2.
not 2.
Which one is 2?
2 is just the little piece.
Right,
Oh.
that one.
Okay, yeah, I agree with James. 2 and 3. have
Because
gotta
that's
go.
where they could put it, they legally, they can have their fence up to that property line.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
So if we say no to 3, they have to get rid of how much of this?
Back to about there. See, their property line is 4.5 feet away from their house,
Okay.
4.6 meters, and then.
So pretty
yeah,
much the,
They have to rip down 8
It's
meters of
roughly
fence.
2/3, so about
Okay.
a third of it is on their property and 2/3 of it are on the
so,
boulevard.
yeah, pretty much
Basically, everything from the
two
prop-
posts.
Everything from the property line
So.
to Main Street North.
Was that from there?
1, 2, so how many flags do they have there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like about 6 flags. And so they'd be able to keep 2 and cut off 4. And then that
Also,
one,
like this whole chunk would have to go.
most of this back
Or
to
right there,
somewhere,
yeah.
yeah. It's hard to tell on that angle, but, yeah. So the mobile home is almost 15 feet back of the property line, and then the next 26 feet are on the main street. Right, 8 meters is 26 feet. So legally, their fence can come like that, right? So,
Here, right?
but those 3 chunks,
Yeah.
they're way out there.
So what about like all the, looks like the fence posts in one of these pictures look like they did cement.
Yeah, they just gotta rip them up.
Yeah.
It's
They come
pretty
out.
easy, or?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All you need is a jackal and you chain and they go.
Like I see where Larry's coming to, but
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
piece of fence that's not even there on the one drawing, right? But there is a piece that's not there. Because it goes across and then all the way out. Yeah, weird. Okay. So James has made the motion for just encroachment 1.
Mhm.
Any questions or concerns?
Does it include this portion up here? Is it one up here?
Brian just said
Nope.
that was meant to be
Nope.
separate.
Number 2?
Nope, that is different. And it's actually separate, it's not touching any of the other fences. It jogs over in the front of the driveway, and then for some reason they started it up again, I don't know.
So if I understand correctly,
They did it to the end of the deck.
no encroachments that are extending out into this
Ma-
area?
In the main street encroachments, yeah,
Okay.
from the front of the property line, yeah. That's what
That's what James is
allowing
mentioning.
1 would be.
Yes.
And then I don't know about the concrete number 2, but
do we know if there's any other houses along this block that maybe have fences going up to the sidewalk as well? Because I could see this being like, okay, well, you guys are enforcing this, well, what about our neighbor 4 houses down and neighbor 6 houses down?
and that could be, and if there's a prolific amount of them, then that's an issue too.
Yeah, then we have to take them all down.
Well, you can't take them down till they apply for a permit.
Yeah. So there could be some unpermitted encroachments in that area.
Yeah, there could be. I didn't even drive the thing. We were there last night. But not at that house.
But we're just focused on this one
I know,
for now.
Yeah.
Are you worried someone's gonna sue us, Matt?
No.
Okay. Anybody? Questions, concerns? Otherwise, I'll call the question again. All in favor of encroachment 1?
Yay.
Opposed? That is carried. Chris, are you really there, or is that just every now and then you say yay? You got a tape recorder. That's better. Okay. Doubtful receivable accounts for consideration. $2,300 or $2,400 worth.
Yeah.
You just,
I guess I'll move option 1.
Matt,
You seem so enthusiastic about that.
I liked it better when your names used to be on there. FOIP takes the fun out of it. Anyway, any questions or concerns?
Can we take this off someone's salary?
You can. All you have to do is
Brian's
put that
smiling
in-
now.
All you have to do is put that in your motion.
He's smiling now. He probably won't be after I make my motion.
Okay?
You're getting all red again.
I was gonna say take it off of Mike's salary.
Anyway, any real questions or concerns? If not, all in favor? Opposed? That's carried. All right, moving on to community organization property tax exemption regulation. Shannon, is this the same old, or is it new?
What do you mean?
The whole COPTER section, because it's been around forever.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just a.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
just- It's the same.
That's just,
Okay. So just the newbies had to read all that.
Yep.
I'll move option 1.
Or Jim can.
Jim. Any questions or concerns?
Is the name of the organization out because of FOIP?
No, it's in there, it's in the options, which is just.
It just says property tax exemption for 2024 and 2025 tax years.
Redcliff Tiny Tots.
Yeah, next page, your suggested.
Oh, there it is. Okay. I missed that. Thank you.
So they've been taxed all along?
They're not taxed, but in their lease, they are responsible for the taxes.
Ah.
Okay, I was wondering that if the property
Yeah.
was leased or if they owned it.
No, it's leased.
It is leased, but like I said, they're responsible for paying the taxes, it's part of the lease.
And that's 115. Or 114. Is it 114 or? So, no, it's an odd, it'll be 115.
115, yes.
Yeah,
I can tell you the number. Well, I can't.
it doesn't matter. We go to 2 or 3 false alarms a year there, so. Pretty much know where it is.
I know that building.
Hmm. So they legally meet, even though they do try to make a profit,
Yeah,
they legally meet all the requirements of COPTER.
as far as I can tell, yep.
Okay? And how much was the taxes for that building?
That I don't have the information on.
Chris.
Chris?
Yes,
What?
which organization are we talking about? I never did see it mentioned.
Redcliff Tiny Tots.
Oh, okay.
In the old chat building, which may have been a taxable building that, so I want to know how much we're giving up by approving this.
No, that was the church before.
And it was
No,
Check
well, it
TV
was,
before
yeah.
that,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a church too.
That's what I remember it being chat.
Yeah,
Ernie's brother was.
Ernie Reimer's brother, yeah.
Guy
Yeah.
that-
Matt.
Seriously.
There's
Yeah.
at least two
Yeah,
other
seriously.
properties on that block.
No, I know, and they were also in the Baden Powell Center. They were roving in that whole area. I think sometimes they just had it on the lawn too.
Sometimes this stuff doesn't come to us until they try to sell it, and this we get the survey.
Tell you, you're mean.
Yep, thank you. Well, it's just, I know that some people that, okay, so the Legion can have some exemptions by COPTER, the golf course can have some exemptions by COPTER, the
Like
German
daycare's
Harmony
a
Hall
profitable
can get some exemptions by
organization.
COPTER, but every time we do that, we're giving up our tax base too. And like if we give them a break on their taxes, are they gonna pass that break on to everybody? Probably not, right? Because profit isn't a swear word.
No, you're exactly right. And what happens is it hurts other associations that are trying to make money, that are paying taxes.
I don't know.
Like commercial businesses.
Well, look at even home daycare. Are they exempt from their house tax then? Because
That's what's gonna be next.
I don't know. I'm just asking Mike how much it is. That's.
Just wait for it to pull up.
Do you need me to load it faster on
Oh.
the town website, or?
You would think preparation would be.
I know,
Somebody's gonna ask me how much it is.
should've known.
Should have known.
This is why we said it should come out of your salary for the last one.
Okay, yeah, I'll amend the last motion then. You're good, Brian. Chris, not so much.
Me, Chris? Just Google Redcliff tax roll.
No,
Chris
Chris Dyer.
D, not Chris
Chris
C.
D.
Chris Delta, not.
He's still not paying.
Gotcha.
He's hiding. He's trying not to make eye contact.
Not working?
It's just this little statement stuff.
Okay.
What's the address?
115
Broadway?
Broadway West.
Used to be Chat TV.
You don't have that. You don't have the tax roll on your
Looking at it
computer.
right now.
The tax roll?
I Googled it. It's on our website.
All the tax rolls?
Yeah. I could look up.
Get off of that.
Huh?
You Snoopy.
Let's find out how much
SOB.
Dwight's house is worth. No. You didn't know that?
I know the roll is open from time to time. I didn't know it
Oh,
was open
yeah,
all
it's
year
on the
round.
website. Cause I've looked my house up before.
Navigate through though.
What's that?
It's very difficult to navigate through. I can't
It
remember
is,
what
cause it
order
doesn't
it's
actually
in.
make any sense, the order that it goes in. What was the address?
115 Broadway West. It's probably on 1117V.
Broadway West. This is Broadway East.
No? You don't think it's that old?
Oh, it's.
Oh, you're right. So it'd be new. Oh, then I don't even know.
Yeah, see, I was at Broadway East, but now it's not at
No,
Broadway
no,
West.
Broadway,
It's
115 Broadway East is, the Rock, probably.
Broadway Avenue
No.
West,
Yeah, almost.
13.
Cause you guys are
19,
114.
601,
Yeah,
701.
114, 116.
This is the most retarded sorting.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Last year's, our 2023's taxes was $12,161.
$1,000 a month. And they have, how many kids in there making money?
A lot.
See, I don't know, that, I'm hard, like, to me, I think more of that as a business versus a community.
Running 52 full-time students.
Yeah, it's almost like the
It is a
property owner
business.
getting out of their taxes.
Well, kind of. You know, especially if it's triple net and you owe those taxes to the landlord. It's kinda cool.
Well, and they're doing improvements in there right now,
That wouldn't matter to them if they were all of a sudden tax exempt, would it?
so. Yep.
Yeah, you gold plate the walls, just like the church, that's probably when it happened,
Yep.
'cause they're exempt.
That place is at home, so.
Anyway, so now we know that it's $12,000.
That's a lot of bucks.
That's a quarter of a mil, just a quarter of a percent, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And this is the first year they did it, cause they heard about it. And you we're optimistic.
Oh, what?
Well, you said it seems to fit the guidelines.
Yep.
It seems to, or it definitely does?
Well, it does. They meet the daycare requirements, they meet the paying the taxes. We went through the list there, and it meets like the other ones do. But again, it's up to you.
Yeah, no matter what it meets, we're say yay or nay to it. We determine if it has community value or not.
And the home base.
Well, that's just it. They're not applying yet, but we that apply after, we get the final say.
Do they have a fence?
I believe they do, because they have a,
For,
Kids-
Yeah, they have a fence in the back area.
there's a road, don't let me, way off the road. If a kid hops
What
that
the hell
fence,
you were going with
if a
that?
kid falls over that fence, you gotta way up to him before Broadway. Now, if he starts beneath, you never know, find an old channel or something down there. Anyway, is there,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna call the question, if there's anything to say. Jim moved it. I've never really gone up there and looked. I know where it is, I've driven by it.
I'm gonna get crap for how I vote on this, but I think I know how I'm gonna vote.
Well,
I-
Matt's motion is number one, to
Yep.
waive the cost.
I look at it as it's a community garden, and we've been supporting this for how long now? Summer. So,
I watered my grass and I paid for it. I don't know, if this had community benefit, as in they were growing these vegetables to help families in need or whatever, then yes, but is it community benefit, or is it someone just doesn't wanna build a garden in their backyard and they can water it for free out by Lions Park?
They give a lot of this stuff away.
Do they?
I don't know.
I've gotten stuff from people. Say they have too much and give me some.
Well, I give stuff away from my garden too, and it's in my backyard, and I water it too.
You have a
Does
fence.
some of it go to the food bank?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I don't even know if the food bank would actually take people's garden.
I don't think they do.
I thought they did.
I don't know.
I don't know, but
I know
don't
they
have
got
any-
funky rules sometimes.
I don't have any issue with this because I walk by it all the time. I see elderly people from our community walk by my house with their little carts with their gardening tools. A few hours later, they walk right back with their gardening tools and some fresh veggies. They're in there playing in the dirt. Sometimes it's good for your mental health just to dig in the dirt, so I have no
Well,
issues
dig in
with
the
it at all.
dirt at your yard.
Anyway. Okay. Any more questions or concerns? I'm gonna call the question. All in favor? Opposed?
Nay.
You voted in favor?
Yes.
Okay.
That passed.
It's carried. However, because it was such a close vote, I think it would be maybe prudent to talk to them. I don't know why water doubled. We didn't double our water. Even Tom said it went up 10% only, not double. So, yeah. I know it was a dry year too. I
Yeah.
used quite a bit of water on my yard too, but.
Yeah, it could change next year.
Okay. Moving along.
That's being optimistic, Jim.
Policy 068, issuing of certificates of compliance, land use bylaw for consideration.
I'll move that we approve it.
James. Any questions or concerns? All in favor?
Yay.
Opposed? It's carried. And then, moving to other, Livebarn broadcast streaming update. Now they're gonna use the firewall as a relay team.
Receive for information.
Yep.
Kathy?
I have questions.
Okay, James?
So, it says here, you got a quote to bounce the signal from the fire hall, $2,300 all in. That's a one-time fee.
Yep.
We're not upgrading any service at the fire hall. That would be a sufficient speed.
Yeah, the service at the fire hall is fast. They've got fast enough speed to handle the arena.
Okay.
So
And then
don't use the internet at the fire hall during a hockey game.
And
We
then
all
if-
bog down.
Then if we build a new fire hall, and then we gotta start over again.
Well, there's that, but, and this bounce signal then, obviously this would just strictly be for the Livebarn, then we're not putting in an open Wi-Fi source or anything like that into the rectangle, it's just for this streaming.
We would be upgrading the internet, like, we can put in any networking equipment then at the arena that can handle anything. So the idea would be we would upgrade the Wi-Fi at the arena for anyone.
So it'd be an open source public with just a limited bandwidth, so that it would remain that there's enough for the live streaming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Matt?
Would we, because was it you that mentioned too that the camera system, security system
Yeah.
would improve?
Yeah, the speed at the fire hall is about the same as we have at town hall here. So we
Yeah.
can handle
Okay.
a lot of traffic.
Yeah. And I know like, I'm seeing more and more with minor hockey, like, they're going to electronic score sheets, which requires Wi-Fi as well. So just to have that upgrade too, for them to be able to do that, I think is important as well.
I don't.
So, the way I see this is, it's gonna cost us, we may recoup our costs in a year or two if it pans out as good as they're saying. We don't know.
Right.
Cause if people don't subscribe, then money will be a slow return.
Correct.
But then we can monitor that too, and if it's a money-losing proposition, then we won't be doing upgrades.
Well, and that's why I asked if it was a one-time fee, because
Yeah.
if it's a one-time fee, even if we don't get $2,000 in the first year.
You're right, you'll
then
slowly get
You
it.
might get a 2 or 3 year return of investment, but we're not out a ton of cash that we'll never be able to recoup.
Right. No, that's the way I read that.
And the fact that it would be enough to provide a public, like those upgrades, are that included in this cost, or is that additional cost?
Most of the
To upgrade all the
networking
networking.
is, what did I say?
$2,300, it says,
That
for
was-
materials plus installation setup.
Right, so we're looking at probably around 3 total to get everything up and running.
Okay, yeah, so that's not bad. And it gives the option of the residents having the ability to have an additional Wi-Fi hotspot, so that
Yep.
the library isn't the only place in town like we keep hearing.
Well, the library shuts theirs off at night.
Well, I would imagine we have the ability to do the same, but,
We'd be able to do that if we wanted that.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's no different than, I guess, town hall. If you were close enough, you could get our signal too.
But then you need to know the password.
There's-
You would, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas if you go public at the arena, then people can just sit out in the parking lot and use Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
I don't see it as a downside if we can recoup the cost without taxing people.
okay. Any more comments, concerns? All in favor of receiving for information? Opposed? That's carried. Christmas tree lighting event 2023 for information. I see some smoke and mirrors here.
And move that we receive for information.
James? I
Our
wasn't
brand
making-
new
I wasn't making pun about the fire pits either. And watch that tree grow. Anyway,
Fancy new tree.
yeah, don't say that. Nobody's supposed to know that. Any questions, comments, concerns? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Municipal manager's report. And all the rest of the stuff for information.
Receive
Kathy?
information.
Kathy? Any questions on any of the reports?
Yeah, I had one.
Okay, go ahead.
So, under community services, FCSS, there's a note about a skate park grant meeting. Are we, like, looking at a grant to expand the skate park, or just some
No,
upgrades to it?
We have a grant. The Redcliff, the youth center applied with us for a grant. They have the money, we just haven't done anything to spend it yet. We need to spend it before the money has to go back.
How long till the money's gonna go back?
We just requested another extension. This is the second extension, I don't know if they'll do it again.
So what are they contemplating spending the money on?
Whatever we want. It's
Currently, it's a sidewalk, some gazebo units, picnic tables, cement pads,
Is
and,
it quite a bit of money?
I can't remember exactly what its amount is, to tell you the truth.
I can't remember
I can't
either. It was a
remember.
sizable chunk.
It
though.
was, yes.
Cause that sounds expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we can do it, all.
You sure the gazebo isn't wood?
Why?
Because they damaged that one in Memorial Park in its first year.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't last very long.
Well, it just had to be redone because, yeah. And I'm not saying it's kids, just saying it's somebody.
And a water station, sorry.
Like a potable?
Nothing about lighting?
I don't remember. I know there was, basically, I think they were calling it phase 3.
I recall hearing something about different, phase 2, phase 3.
Yeah, it was quite a bit.
Okay. Any other questions on any of the report?
Your worship, the museum, is this ever gonna finish?
It says it's done.
It said it's done, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't notice all the wooden blocks come off and then more brick went on. I didn't even notice. How'd they do that without me even seeing it? Is it done? Is it really done?
Not quite.
That's better.
Then why does it say it's done?
Optimistic.
The project is in completion. We have some questions for our primary contractor. Regards to flasher and entrance free barrier.
Barrier for entrance?
Yes, thank you.
To me, a
Entrance
museum
free
is something you
barrier?
can go into. It's open,
Larry.
Not 9 o'clock yet?
not for 2 years like this.
You know what, Larry?
Mr. Wall is on budget and on schedule.
If we would have closed the museum, it wouldn't be a problem.
Oh, come on. Oh, I see, that kind of closed, because it was closed.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Not spent the money.
All right. Okay, any real questions? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of receiving for information? Opposed? It's carried. What do you say, Chris?
Wake up.
I think you said yay.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought he went to sleep.
I had a horse in my throat.
Oh. Too much information.
I
Too
don't
much
wanna know.
info.
You're in
Don't wanna
Vegas,
know.
you can't say stuff like that, man.
He was just taking a swig of beer, that's what he was doing.
Landfill graphs.
Never drank when I have a meeting coming.
Larry, moved. Any questions on the landfill graphs? With graphs like that, you're never gonna get a new loader. I say that. Okay. All in favor, receiving for information, opposed, that is carried. And then council important meetings and events.
For information.
Ah,
It's a big list.
anybody know of some we forgot?
Yeah, when are we having our next governance meeting?
I have no idea. That's, if Shannon wants something on there.
I've
Oh.
been
I don't
enjoying
call
not having
meetings
them.
just for meetings.
Yeah, I've been enjoying not having them.
Oh, okay, no, I'm just,
Usually-
I'm just hoping I don't
Yeah.
miss it.
What, usually, when it's like big bylaws or big reads coming in,
Right.
rather than just dump them in a council package, it's nice to talk about them earlier.
Right.
But I don't think there has been much.
Okay. That,
I have
that,
a few things coming, but I haven't, talked about it yet.
Yeah.
okay.
So, yeah, there definitely wasn't one this month. Or last month, maybe.
No, last month either.
Okay,
No.
that's cool. Okay,
Like, I'm not missing him,
okay.
it's just that I don't wanna miss
You
him.
have, you have been missing them, we just haven't told you.
Okay. So, all in favor of the important dates?
Yay.
Opposed, that's carried. Does anybody need a recess?
No.
Let's get it done.
Okay, does somebody want to move us into closed?
I'll move it.
James?
Are you alone, Chris?
I am.
Just the horse?
Just a horse, yeah.
Just wait.
We got a vote, Alicia.
Yeah, just stand there for a second.
Assistance.
Assistance, thank you, in the proposed development.
Short and sweet.
Yep.
Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried.
That's it.
Adjourn.
Adjourn.
Jim?
I told you you gotta start looking this way.
I was waiting for someone to say it, I was like, holy smoke.
At 10:09. All in favor?
Yep.
Opposed?
You get these over.
It's carried.
Yes, please.